Hello everyone, welcome back. We are discussing dialectical behavior therapy. I have already discussed acceptance and commitment therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, interpersonal therapy, and mentalization based therapy. If you are interested in those topics as well, you can find all those videos on my channel. The role of a therapist in dialectical behavior therapy is to help their client build a life that is worth living. That means helping them engage in activities that are meaningful and important to them. The word dialectical actually means two opposing ideas are existing at the same time. For example, we say that somebody is doing their best in life, but there is scope to do better. The two opposing ideas that we will discuss in dialectical behavior therapy is acceptance and change. And we will also discuss how to balance acceptance and change in life as well. Many times we find ourselves in situations that we don't have control on. We can't change the past and we can't see the future either. But what we can do is we can accept the reality as it is and make changes in our lives so that our life is more meaningful. I'm going to give you a very powerful example of Jean-Dominique Babet. He was a French journalist and an editor to a leading fashion magazine. One day, he faces a massive abrupt stroke which damaged his brainstem. He got this syndrome called locked-in syndrome, in which he could not even breathe on his own. He was put on a respirator. His entire body was paralyzed, but the only working organ in his body was a left eyelid. You know what he did? He wrote a book. How did he write a book? Well, a board was put in front of him with letters from most commonly used to the least commonly used. Somebody would point on those letters for him and he would blink every time that person would land on the correct letter for him. So letter by letter, blink by blink, the entire book was written. The book's name is The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. Babet in his book says that he did not even know what a brainstem was till his brainstem got damaged. Babet did not have control over what happened to him. There was no way that he could have changed his situation. But what he did was he accepted the reality and made changes in his life that kept his life meaningful even when his entire body was paralyzed. Carl Rogers, who was an American psychologist who contributed significantly to dialectical behavior therapy, he talked about non-attachment. He said that our suffering does not come from pain, but it actually comes from our attachment to the pain. He explained it by giving an example that if we have a physical pain, we try to find the underlying cause for that pain, and if there is some problem, we take medication. Similarly, when we go through an emotional pain, we should look for the reasons why that emotional pain exists, and we should try to heal ourselves rather than being attached to that pain. Carl Rogers took the concept of non-attachment from Buddhism. Buddhism has four noble truths. The first is that life is a suffering. The second is the cause of the suffering is because of our attachment and desires. Third is to get rid of that suffering, we have to get rid of desires and attachment. And how to get rid of that attachment and desires is by following an eightfold path. Eightfold path is all about having right thought process and exposing ourselves to right intellect. Dialectical behavior therapy is used to treat disorders like borderline personality disorder, suicidal tendencies, and other destructive behavior. But it should always be kept in mind that it is a collaborative and a cooperative effort between the therapist and the client. It's like you and your client are both in the same boat with putting in equal efforts to row the boat. The therapist should not be sitting at the back, not putting in any efforts, and at the same time, the client should also not be drilling holes into the boat. Full dialectical behavior therapy is conducted in four modes. The first is structured individual mode, in which the focus is on the destructive behavior. You also give diary or emotional cards to your clients to keep a track on their emotions. And if you're dealing with a teenager, then family therapy is also included. The second mode is skills group. It is a weekly meeting of about 2 hours in which you teach new behavior skills to your client so as to regulate their emotions, tolerate distress, and have good interpersonal relationships with other people. The third mode is skills coaching. In this, the therapist is available to the client 24 hours a day so as to provide guidance to the client whenever distressful or challenging situation arises in their life on a daily basis. Fourth is consultation team, in which a team is available to the therapist to help understand the client and help the client even more. If the therapist does not have a consultation team, then this therapy will not be considered dialectical behavior therapy. Best thing about dialectical behavior therapy is that it keeps the client in their life. They can go to their college, their school, their work, meet up with their friends. It doesn't take up all their time. It lets them live their daily life. That's all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe the channel, leave a like and a comment below.